Hello and welcome to a new edition of Design for the Times. I'm your host, Richard Christopher Scuderi, and the owner of Maven Hill Interior Designs and Maven Hill Design Build. Today, talking about designing and building, I have a dear friend of mine who is started as a customer, and somewhere we crossed the line and we actually became friends. And her name is Joanne Haynes, and she's a resident of Mendham, New Jersey. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So Joanne, I met years ago, I think when your son was having his bar mitzvah.
Right.
And at that point, you wanted to redo some of the house. So we started doing the big thing was the kitchen. I don't know if you had it on your place to do the dining room as well. We wound up doing it. Oh, it was just the kitchen?
Yeah.
But somehow it got contagious, and we wound up doing the dining room, which was a showstopper at the time, remember?
Right.
And then the powder room.
Right, and the floors was
On
a
the
big thing we
floor,
had.
yes. And then you stopped.
Right.
And then you reappeared in my life last year, at the end of last year, because we're only at the beginning, we're only just out of January now. And we did the whole rest of the house, and that's what today's show is about. Today's show is about what happens when you go through a whole house renovation. And we're really just about at the end now, and I know you're ready to have your life back, I would imagine. So we're going to take some pictures. We took some pictures today before we came to studio, and I want to take a look at stuff, and I just want to get your opinion of doing stuff and what people go through when they do a whole house renovation. So I think the first shot is the outside picture. So let's talk about this, because I absolutely, absolutely love this. Tell our viewers about this kind of houses, because it's a unique style house. It's not really one style, sort of a hybrid style.
Right.
Tell me what the word was that the realtor said the house was.
California Monterey.
A California Monterey house.
So it's basically has a lot of outdoor porches.
Right.
So the whole front has a porch across the top level.
Right.
And the back has a porch almost out every door.
Exactly. And it was built, I think, in 1970, right?
A little, maybe 69.
69. So it has a very contemporary for the time, contemporary kind of a look. And what we tried to do, but it also has a very sort of a California Spanish look, and you'll see that when you see the arches on the inside. We were trying to do something that brought the house back to what it was, because I think even when you bought it, it was much more set up, because the rooms are big, to be more like a colonial. What I tried to do with you is sort of go back to its contemporary, California contemporary roots. So one of the things that we did was I sort of talked you into changing out the door, which funny. It was a Victorian door. It had a sort of a Victorian look to it.
And stained glass and everything.
And stained glass, but it didn't bring light into the foyer. So I liked this door because it brought in. It has those 6 lights there, and then the 3 lights in the. When I lights, I mean glass panes. It has a cleaner look, and also brought a lot more light, I thought, into your foyer, which has a dark tile floor. The big things here we did is you were sort of like a sand beigey brown color before, and we went with this gorgeous gray. And the big thing with you is I don't think you wanted me to paint the bricks in the beginning, if you remember.
I was nervous that the bricks wouldn't look good painted. You know.
But look how gorgeous they are. I love the look. For people out there who have a brick house and they're tired of the brick look, the painted brick look is a little bit urban. It's a little bit updated, and it's just a nice clean look. So what we did, because your house had so many different competing factors with the type of products that are on the house, painting it was the great amalgamator, because it sort of consolidated everything, don't you think?
It doesn't look as choppy.
It was choppy
like
looking.
Before, the bottom was brick, the top was brown, the porch was white, so it was all
was all mixed up.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to paint brick, folks, because it really consolidated. So there's a gorgeous front door in a pop color. We'll talk about that later in the episode. We have gorgeous lighting. My showroom in Ringo's, New Jersey, I share with Flemington Fan and Lighting. So I took Joanne and her husband Jay, and we did some wonderful lighting. That light fixture I loved, and some great planters, and we really sort of gave the house a facelift from the front out. The next outdoor, and I think this was transformative. What would you describe the color that it originally was?
It was like sand.
Like a
dark sand, like a wet sand.
And it didn't do anything for the house. And I thought to myself, this is a contemporary. Look at the clean sort of early 1970s, late 60s California lines. Let's go with the gray. I think gray on a contemporary house is the right color, right? Because it goes with nature, because the thing's gray in nature. And we went with this gray, and I think it did, and crisp white trim, super white trim. It did a lot for the look of the house, didn't it?
Yeah, I like it because it's like a natural look. Like when in the winter, when you look at the trees,
right,
they're gray. The bark is gray.
Right. It works well with the landscaping,
right.
Because it's a big lot. I don't remember how many acres it is, but it's a big lot. And the tree, literally, this house is sort of nestled in the trees, sort of like a birdhouse or
right, a tree house.
A tree house, I should say.
Which is really true, especially because when you're sitting on all those decks,
yeah,
you're really up there in the trees.
You're in the trees, and that's why we're calling this project the Tree House. Now, one of the things that we did, which I also didn't think people know that you can do, is you had existing garage doors, and we didn't really have the budget to replace the garage doors. But I had suggested that just because you have a fiberglass garage door, that in fact is a paintable surface. Most people think if you're stuck with garage doors that are fiberglass, or whatever the finish is, no matter what, you can always paint garage doors. And in this case, we painted the garage doors back. And I don't know if you were concerned about that. What did you think about the painted garage doors? Before we did it, of course.
I didn't think was a consideration. Like I thought, I saw the nice new houses had those pretty wood garage doors, and we thought about that. And then you said you could paint them, and they would look like that.
Right.
And then we sort of morphed into making it black.
Right.
But it's like 100% better. Like I think these garage doors are the same age as the house.
Right. So
and you wouldn't really know now. Like
no, they look new.
Yeah.
And they also reinforced that new sort of modern style. So we'll go on to the next one. And as you can see here, this is what I wanted to talk about, folks. Don't be afraid to paint your home. This home, this sort of rancho style, this Monterey, late 60s, early 70s California style, had so many different elements on. Finishes, a stucco finish, a brick finish, a wood finish. And what this did, as you can see from this shot, this amalgamated everything, and it made the house look bigger, I think, because it was one surface. It makes sense. The last thing that we struggled with a little bit was we still had sort of a red brick chimney, which I thought was very distracting. So in the end, you allowed me to paint the chimney white. So basically, you have a beautiful dark gray house with white trim and just a pop at the front door. And I think it really was transformative, don't you?
We originally thought we weren't sure to paint it black or leave it brick.
Yeah, but
we hesitated to paint the brick in all the cases, but the white really looks good because you still have the white porches.
And now the house really has a look to it, and I think it's a great looking house now.
So it's a totally different house.
So we're going to talk about now, you go in the front door, that sort of blue-green front door, and we really changed the foyer significantly. We went to a lighter version of the outside color, so I like to bring the outside in. And I think that did this. This is Benjamin Moore's, I can't think of which one it was. It was a historic light gray. And it really did a lot for the inside of the house to neutralize and to reinforce the character of the house and the contemporary look. And it contrasts because you decided to keep the natural wood. So I think the natural wood with the gray work well together because, again, it's what you said, it looks like nature. So the house, when you come in, as you can see here, has a beadboard. When you come in, that's original to the house. And we opted not to go over it with sheetrock, but actually to have some integrity to the house by leaving the beadboard up and just painting it a consolidated gray with the natural wood. We also got rid of all the furniture, everything in the space, and just had it be a foyer and be open. Now, I had this idea because I thought this was a very dramatic look, but not much going on. So I found you this gorgeous rug that we actually hung, this bigger than 8 by 10 rug that we hung, and I think it just speaks for itself.
Yeah, really, it's really the only thing in the whole foyer, which is nice, and it's, and then it's the colors, it sort of goes with wood because it's kind of a traditional sort of design.
Right.
But all the colors are the colors that we picked.
And that was a good thing about doing a statement piece in a foyer. It gave me a palette for all the upstairs bedroom, and you'll see that beautiful rich coral Benjamin Moore's color of the year is in the house upstairs. and the blues and the grays, and there's a touch of green in there. But it was a great expectation of what the rooms would be because the palette is in the rug.
And just imagine it now without the rug. I can't even imagine what it would look. It'd be boring.
It would be boring.
What would you have put there?
Right, little pictures all over, a mirror. That really changed the world. So don't be afraid to think outside the box. Rugs, yes, belong on floors, but rugs can also be on walls. And really, I don't think there's anything else we could have done to make this look that good. But clean at the same time, don't you think?
Yeah.
Now, here's something we did at the end that I also thought was transformative. Those stairs were the original 1969 stairs, and we decided to redo the wood. And I remember you calling me of how happy you were.
Yeah.
Because they look brand new, don't they?
Well, because they were so old that we thought they would be unfixable.
Right, and unsightly when
Yeah.
they were sanded. But they're sanded here, and something that I'm doing right now is dark stains are out for floors now. So instead of going to a dark stain, we just brought them up natural, and then we just did a clear coat finish on them in a matte. So they have that sort of tree house kind of natural look.
Yeah,
which is
they're the original condition, which is
excellent.
I really think that it was the guy you hired.
Right.
I mean, he did this mostly by hand, the stairs.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, he was with the little scraper. I mean, and it was incredible to see it because at first we thought we'd do a dark stain because
you want to cover, right?
Wanted to cover the floor. He got everything perfect, and he's the one who came in and said, "You don't have to do dark. It looks fine. Everything looks good."
Yeah, so don't be afraid if you want to go back to it. I love especially in this house because it's that California kind of contemporary house. It was about nature then. That was a very big deal, and that's why I build houses like that. So they were able, like you said, because stains through the years, we thought we were going to have to go dark. But in fact, once you do the sanding, take a look at the quality of the wood, the consistency of the wood, and it just adds so much to that space to give it that sort of natural, really nice, clean look, which is what you were looking for. Okay.
They're in the wrong place.
I think they're in the wrong place, but that's okay. This is when we got into the primary suite, we decided to work with the treehouse theme.
Right.
And so we went with a color, which you'll see in some of the other pictures. We went with a pretty Benjamin Moore gray-green, and we brought in some nature colors to the space because we were creating, in fact, the look that this was going to be called the treehouse.
Right.
Now, okay, so we're in the living room. You have a very unusual living room because it is front to back, and it's a very big space. So we kept the continuity of color from the foyer and went back with that Benjamin Moore Wickham gray, that's the color, Benjamin Moore's Wickham gray, and carried it through from room to room because even though your house is not an open floor plan, carrying the continuity of color kind of did that. One of the things that I do at Maven Designs and Maven Home Store is I carry unique artwork and accessories, and these came from, I think you went down to my Middletown store, and we bought these out of the Middletown store. They're great. They're botanical prints, but they're done in such a half black and white, half color way that they have visual interest to them. Now these are also, we took on your fireplace wall, you have that long wall with a fireplace, and the fireplace is not in the center, it's over to one side. So I wanted to create something where there was continuity with the back wall. And I've already done that with paint, and I thought to myself, well, what could we do? And I have a company I use a lot called Pacific Designs, and this is a natural woven grass paper. This is actual physical grass that is hand dyed, in this case, a navy, which is your pop color. And I think it made that wall absolutely stunning, don't you think?
Yeah.
So
it looks like, to me, I always think of the colors like indigo blue.
Yes.
Like it's so deep.
Yes.
Such a deep, deep blue.
And sometimes it reminds me of like denim. Like if you look at it in this picture, more formal, but it has sort of that denim look, and it's not flat. No paint I could have picked a nice shade of navy like we did in your dining room, but it wouldn't do what this does because there's striations of whites and grays and where it's dyed in the natural element, and it added texture. And what's nice about using a grass paper, something that's just texture, look how the botanical prints leap off it, right? Yeah. And then you have the natural wood that we carried from the foyer, and from what I think I'll show you next, and
Yeah.
it all kind of came together. That's a long shot of looking into the living room from the dining room, which again has those arches in the front of the house that carry through that California Monterey style. But if you look through the shot, you'll see how we have sort of a gray palette with the blue. In the dining room, we've painted the solid of the blue, which matches the wallpaper, and then just sort of calmed down some of the variety of surfaces you had and neutralized them. Okay, now we're going into the bedroom, but I can work with that. This bedroom, we actually gutted and filleted, didn't we?
Yeah.
We changed every surface in the house. And if you look at this particular picture, the bed, the upholstered linen bed, which is so gorgeous, really makes have a sort of a contemporary look. I painted the walls in this this huge master, primary suite, I should say, a wonderful sage, a gray-green, but then I took the matching color, but with a geometric paper, a subtle thing that really made it look contemporary.
Right, like from this picture,
Right.
you can't even really see that it's a textured wallpaper until you get close.
Close, and then
but you can see that it's not flat.
Exactly, and it just creates some visual interest.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to use, and you were so, when I first met you the original time, you said, I love corals and pinks. And Benjamin Moore's color of the year is this really rich coral color. So we worked with the greens of the treehouse look and the corals, and it really came together sort of very fresh looking. So your bedroom is so big that we have a sitting area where you can watch television. So I found these wonderful recliners in sort of a buttery soft leather that have every sort of feature in them. You can plug your phone in, you can do everything, and super comfortable.
And they swivel.
Yeah, and they swivel and they rock and they open up with a click of a button to full reclining position, and they're lovely. I think one of them, the plug you got today, we had to order a plug, so I think they must have been fighting over the one.
No one's sat in the other one at all.
Right.
So far. But also, I just want to say that we just love that table.
Yeah, isn't that gorgeous?
Because it's just so pretty.
Yeah.
And even though you wouldn't think that it goes, I guess when you see the bathroom, it does kind of go, but it sort of just. It goes with the chair. It just really goes really well.
It just don't be afraid to do things that are organic. That little occasional table came from Maven Hill Home Store as well in Middletown, New Jersey, and it's sort of like fretwork in a new matte gold, and it has a marble top, and it just sort of all comes together. It's a little elegant, but it also works within the space.
Yeah.
This is the dining room. This what we did in the first round. As you can see here, there's a lovely drum fixture. So it's a take on a classic fixture with the arms, but it also has this sort of see-through linen shade and a couple of crystals on it, but in a modern way. And we decided in this room, I love square-shaped dining rooms, I should say. Most dining rooms are a long, thin rectangle. So you have to use an oval table. This gave us the opportunity to do a very large round table. In fact, we had a hard time finding a table big enough. Remember?
I think that's make it, custom
yes.
make it.
So this table is a round. There are no head chairs, and we got these wonderful blue tapestry, very comfortable chairs, and a whole heck of a lot of them. And how is it navigating a round table when you entertain? Does it induce? I would imagine it induces more conversation because you're all on equal territory.
Yeah, I really love the round table. I wanted it when we first designed. I set on a round table because the room is round, and it has the rounded bow
window
in the back.
The bow window, right? And you want to see how the lines accentuate each other.
Yeah.
The circular drum shade, the circular window, and then the table. They kind of organically work together.
Right. The challenge was to have the other furniture in the room and be able to pull out all the chairs.
Exactly.
So we ended up moving it. It's not exactly centered in the room. It's centered towards the bay, as if the bay window was a flat window.
Right, because, and people have to realize that not all rooms are symmetrical, so you want to pick one focal point and then work off of that. In this case, we opted because the outside is so beautiful, as you can see by the 80-foot mature tree, so we used the window as almost artwork, and then centered off of that. I highly, highly tell people if they have a square dining room to try think about a round table.
And really I've gotten so many compliments over this, and so many people wanted to do it, and I've seen them do their dining rooms in this color with the same wainscoting, you call it, on the bottom. Like people have loved this. I love this room. It's really one. Now the bedroom might be my favorite room, but this was my favorite room.
Well, your favorite room at the time, yeah. It's a gorgeous room.
It's really a nice feeling, and I thank you for it, that I love my house.
Oh, thank you. Nothing makes me feel better when people say that, you do their house and you really made them happier, and that just gives me such joy.
And also that I really could not have done it. You saw the things that I had picked out.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
No, but I remember going into the dining room and I had this tablecloth that was from Mexico with reds and oranges and yellows and blues. It was and although it was nice, it isn't that.
But that's why I think people, to be honest, Joanne, I think that's why people use designers, because they know what they like. You told me, I incorporated everything you like, but they don't know how to combine it so it works with the architecture of the house. And that's why it's important to use somebody that understands your taste. And I think I can honestly say I did understand your taste.
Yeah.
I didn't try to talk you into what I wanted. You told me, like the pretty blouse that you have on, you want that color, and we were able to make that work organically throughout.
And I remember when we picked the color for the dining room, it was because of what I had in my cabinet.
Exactly.
My blue and silver.
All your blue and silver gorgeous dining pieces, and it brought them out.
Right.
It's nice when you do holidays and you have that, it comes together. I wanted to show this shot because Maven Hill Design Build isn't just interior design. We really, in my 26-year tenure, and you even said this to me from when I started to now, I do construction management. So we do everything from an implementation and a design concept to actual implementation, and then finally getting your certificate of occupancy. So everything for a home. So I wanted to show this shot because what we did was we took which is off screen, we took your existing very small 1969 bathroom and closet, and we opened it up and created a spacious master suite because you wanted a freestanding tub.
Yeah.
And we were able to do that.
Closet.
Right. So we had to replace the walk-in closet. So over to the left, I just wanted to see the shot of the framing that we have there. We built a huge walk-in closet. So you were able, just by reconfiguring the space, to have a spacious soaking tub, freestanding shower, and everything you wanted in a primary bath, but at the same time have a big walk-in closet. Here's a shot of. I like this story. We have less than 5 minutes left, but I want to talk about this because they have this very late 60s kind of hip-looking fireplace that's asymmetrical. And then you told me, because you have a barn on the property, tell me the story about this, because that piece is so beautiful.
Well, you're the one who first suggested that maybe we should put barnwood up there.
Right.
So you took us to the barnwood store.
Yes, and we looked at other people's timbers.
And we looked at all the wood, and it was nice and everything.
Uh-huh.
And then we saw the price.
Right.
And then I said, I think we had our barn rebuilt because during Sandy a tree fell on it.
Right.
And I said, I think I have some wood that looks a lot like that, just sitting around, from the rebuild, from the old barn.
Right.
And we went down, we found a piece that fit, and I think it looks great.
I think it looks better than any of the beams I was going to take you to, and the story that it was organically found on the property to me.
The ones that we were going to buy when we were looking to buy, we were buying like a whitewashed look.
Exactly,
and just because they were prettier.
But what's lovely about this one is that it really, the warmth of the wood against the gray of the coldest, the combination is exquisite. Yeah. It was exquisite.
I love it.
Now look at that. I am so proud of that. I just think that's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
We didn't love, when we started, both of us, I think, we didn't love the stone itself. It's got that mid-century modern, almost could be like in the 50s actually, that type of stone, that sort of ledge stone, that's sort of narrow and long. And the color
had some imperfections, which it still has, which you don't really see now.
It transformed itself.
Yeah.
People don't realize when you make one change, it makes everything else you look at, the perspective of it change. And that really did that with that barn beam. This is from Maven Hill Home Store, and a new fireplace screen. And then, of course, in the backdrop there you have the grass paper. And this was the space that was probably the most dated in your whole house. To me, my favorite. But I love the bedroom too, but my favorite. That is your...
Back to the bedroom.
Now we have this gorgeous big shower that can actually fit 2 people. And we did something here I like. There's about 2 minutes left. We're using the larger tile. I'm actually copying. You don't know this. I'm copying your bathroom because the lady liked it so much on my new job. She's like, I want what she has.
Oh, wow. And pink and everything? And coral?
I don't know if they're going to do the coral, but
the shower.
They're copying your shower because they like the bigger tiles. And that was your idea to go bigger with tiles. Remember when we were shopping?
Yeah. Mostly for cleanliness, which is an issue.
And the bedroom just is it's so soft, it's so pretty. Yeah. You told me the bed, you went from king to queen, didn't you? I mean, from queen to king.
Yeah.
And what did you tell me about the bed?
It's so big. We didn't realize how little our bed was. Well,
her husband told me, "Where are you?"
No, right. He's like, "Where are you reaching?" You can spread out, and you can't even know someone's there.
Absolutely.
And then those nice night tables. Don't forget them that you picked out.
The night tables that I picked out are there, and the lamps are gorgeous. They're gourd lamps that are clear because we wanted to see through to the gorgeous wallpaper. Joan, we only have a little bit left of time left, only just about a minute. So I want to thank you because Joanne really has a lovely home, an interesting home, interesting architecture, and I do a lot of projects, but I particularly enjoyed your project because it really allowed me to sort of take somebody's architecture and make it work. And what I think the most about it for me is that the house makes sense, right? The rooms are updated, but it still references the original architecture of the house.
Yeah.
So one of the last things that Joe and I are going to do now is we're going to have a sign made, and we're going to call it the
tree house.
The tree house, because it sits there on the property so beautifully and majestically, and it really was. You were a joy to work with on this. You were so easy and so fair, but you did something that was good because you gave me parameters. Some people say do what you want. I don't like that. I rather say I want a room that's coral. I want to respect the bay window and do something that will do that. And that really helped me to create something that I think is a beautiful...
kind of unique.
Yeah, sort of a unique space that's yours. I don't know anybody's house that looks like yours. Yet, we used a lot of contemporary elements that you say you're seeing now when you go shopping. You're seeing the colors and so on.
Yeah.
And really bringing them to life in a way that respects the architecture, that sort of kind of neat California contemporary architecture. But just your house, but updated. So I thank you again, Joanne Haynes and Jay Haynes too. Have a wonderful day.